Hey guys, welcome to Save Continue Podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm Shanae Howard. With me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
Hi, nice to be here.
Sure. You know what's funny
And
is we're recording at a different time of day than we usually do.
Yeah,
So you can see the fucking all of this shit
sure.
from me and Ryan.
Yeah. Oh shit. There we go.
uh, oh, you mean like the glares from the sun
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I tested that before we recorded because I take this seriously.
I did
Uh,
not.
Yeah. I mean, why
I was
would you?
playing video games.
Yeah, which is what the show is about, by the way. So,
I mean, that's true. Facts. I can't argue with that. But yeah, what have y'all been up to this past week?
Uh, I've been playing mostly a bunch of first-person shooters, as has been the case for the past month. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. So I won't mention any of those here. As far as other games, I've been playing the Nier Replicant remake, which it's interesting. So for those that don't know, Nier Replicant was just Nier in the US when it came out.
mhm.
And the version of Nier we got was Nier Gestalt, which is dad Nier, old man, leathery face Nier.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
Replicant is the smooth young nubile.
Yeah. And that was only in Japan, right? Japan had both versions, one exclusive to the PS3, one to the 360. So this is the first time that the US has an actual release of Replicant. Nier is such a weird game. Much like most of the Drakengard games, there's so much bad about it,
Like
But
what?
what's good is so good that you can excuse all that. Visually, it
Yeah.
was already dated when it came out.
Okay.
The combat, not very good. A lot of fetch quests, a lot of
I
that
remember
kind of
the
stuff.
cover art was pretty uninspiring.
Yeah. But the story's so good and the characters are so good that you just kind of,
You overlook it.
muscle through it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's greatly improved. It does not look like a current gen game, still, but it looks better than it ever has. It controls better than it ever has.
Mhm.
The combat's improved. It's not improved to the point of Platinum Games doing Nier Automata, but it's a lot better than it used to be,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely the way to play it. My daughter's way farther in it than I am. And then I've been playing some rhythm games.
I just imagine Bailey looking at you and be like, "Dad, no, you need to go over here," and just getting mad at you.
Well, I already know what happens in the game. She does not, but
Mm.
so I've been playing a lot of rhythm games too, or a couple, I should say. Tap Sonic Bold,
What
which
is
is a
that?
lot of
Do
fun.
do you feel like you and Sonic are in the rhythm?
Yes, that's how I feel, Shanae.
If you're listening to the audio version, the look that Tom just gave was very funny. What is Tap Sonic though?
So Tap Sonic is a spin-off of the DJ Max Respect series.
Oh, okay, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, and it was a mobile thing, but Tap Sonic Bold is a PC game, and it's a Mania rhythm game.
Mm.
So, been
What does
playing
that
that.
mean?
Mania rhythm is vertical scrolling, right, down to a line.
Oh,
Uh,
like Guitar Hero.
Yeah, sure. Um,
I'm
so
not good at rhythm games. I don't play a lot of them. I need baby examples for me and my brain to get it.
yeah. So that's been a lot of fun. It's very hard, so I'm trying to practice with ghost stepping and all that, but it's getting there. Um, and then I've been playing this game just today that I bought for a couple bucks called, what the fuck's it called? Muse Dash.
Muse
So
Dash.
it's weird. It's a little horny, right? It's a little lewd.
Okay.
Mhm.
You got me. You hooked me.
Maybe get your jollies off to it. Got it.
It's so you pick one of three anime girls,
Right.
and the gameplay is very much like Tycho
Mm.
in that it's horizontally scrolling and you've got 2 buttons,
Right.
right? But
Mhm.
unlike Tycho, you have things like hold notes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But like it's got this addictive hook. Like you're constantly leveling up and constantly unlocking more and more shit.
I mean, I just Googled it, and like I dig the aesthetic. I like the.
Yeah, no, it's very well done. But like at the same time, it's a little horny.
Yeah,
You know?
sure.
Yeah.
They got to keep you interested
But
somehow.
What besides leveling up? So how is it horny? Like, are those 2 buttons like her boobs or something? Like what?
yeah, you're tapping on her nips. No, it's
Well, you
it's
are her, so I just imagine
well,
like it's
like
just a girl just like.
it's like it's a Chinese game. It's heavily anime inspired, and like it's the characters are like little chibi girls. I say girls because you don't know how old they are,
Uh-oh.
and the game makes reference to the fact that you don't know how old they are.
Uh-oh.
And in game, it's not very horny, right? But like when you clear a chart, it'll bring up like artwork of them, right? Like moving artwork, and like
Mm-mm.
sometimes there's a little bit of titty bounce.
Uh-oh.
The skins you unlock can often be very revealing, things like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh,
But super fun game. I believe it's also on Switch.
yeah, I
And,
saw that it's on Switch and mobile, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I personally think playing on PC is probably best just because you have a keyboard.
Sure.
But it's
And also, you
'cause,
probably have
like,
better
doing
better
2
monitor.
buttons with your thumbs,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot harder than just doing this,
Yeah.
with your fingers. So
Doing this.
yeah,
I mean, I think it just depends, you know.
sure. I mean, I would even say like mobile is better, or if you're playing on Switch, play on the touchscreen instead of the controller.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game. If not a little bit too easy,
Sure.
Today's my first day playing it. I'm playing on hard, and I'm S ranking most of the stuff.
Yeah.
There is a
You
difficulty
want those
above hard.
sexy skins.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I want all the skins. Honestly, I want to unlock everything.
Yeah.
But there's a difficulty above hard, which I've not tried yet. But it seems like hard should be normal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. Besides all these shooters, it sucks because like I got Nier and Returnal like day 1, and I've like barely touched them because I'm doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Returnal, I haven't even touched once.
Yeah. So speaking of Returnal, I have been playing a lot of Returnal. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar, Returnal is a game by Housemarque, makers of games like Resogun and Nex Machina. And the core conceit of this game is Stardust, yeah.
I just say it because it's probably their most well known.
Yeah. The core conceit of this game is that you are an astronaut of sorts who crash lands on this alien planet, and you're basically trying to find your way off of it. And there's all these hostile alien creatures there, so you have to fight them, and then every time you die, you're trapped in a time loop. So every time you die, you come back with the knowledge of what happened previously. So the game very much feels like Nex Machina felt, in the way that it's very fast paced, and like there's like, and it quickly gets to the territory of like bullet hell and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. The combat feels really good. It does some stuff with the adaptive triggers, in that so for the left trigger, when you pull it in halfway, that aims down sights, and then when you pull it in all the way, that charges up the special attack for whatever weapon you're holding. And I thought that stuff was pretty neat, but it's hard. That game is very hard.
So like as far as like third person bullet hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big quotes there. Like the only game I can really think of that I've played like that is Nier Automata.
Yeah.
So like, if you're good at that, will you have an easier time with this?
So I haven't played enough Nier Automata to say,
Yeah.
but I do think that if you got, I do think that if you got pretty good at Nex Machina, like on the harder difficulty, then that skill should translate over. I think the only thing that you really the only thing that you really have to kind of account for is now it's in a 3D space, so you have to account for like verticality.
Right, and that's why I bring up Nier.
Yeah, but it's I know that a lot of people, like, there's a lot of conversation about the kind of the length of the cycles, as they're called, and the absence of a mid run save feature. I don't really know. I don't really think that I don't know that I necessarily have an opinion on that. I do think that the runs tend to be probably around like an hour and a half long for me anyway.
Yeah.
Like my runs up to like from respawn to death are usually around an hour and a half. And getting to like the boss of like the second biome, and then dying is it's kind of a lot, because when you respawn, you're restarting in like the first area, and then
But that's the genre, though. You know?
yeah, and then so you're running all the way, you're fighting your way through the second area, because once you clear an area, you can kind of just crit path it through that area to go to the next one. But if you haven't beaten the boss of an area yet, you kind of have to fight your way through back to the boss again. I personally have been enjoying it just because I like the game. I like the way it feels, and I like finding like different weapons or finding like power ups and stuff, and seeing like what I end up with. So that stuff's been fun for me. But I know people have been less than hot about that aspect of the game. I felt bad for a friend of mine because he'd put to kind of get around that, he put his PlayStation in rest mode while he went to work. And then he came back and the game had updated, so it kicked him out of the game. So I felt a little bad for him about that.
But I get that some people have complained about it, but at the same time, like, nobody was talking about this game before reviews started coming out.
Sure. Well,
and now everybody's talking about it, so like I'm glad it's doing well.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I got a little bit. I remember prior to release, I was feeling a little bit annoyed because like a lot of the conversation about the game was less about what we had seen of the game as far as gameplay was concerned, and more about the price point of the game. And people just kind of just be like, well, I don't think this is worth $70. Well, then just like, don't buy it. like I don't know.
You just spent $600 on a new console, but $70 is too much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's just like, and I guess for me, I was like, well, what other PlayStation 5 games are you playing right now? So, I think overall it's a very good game. The story is actually more compelling than I anticipated that it would be, and like the creepiness of Celine is her name, of finding like audio logs next to her own dead body, and like listening to those audio logs, like that creepiness kind of never wears off. But you can,
I like that. It reminds me of the Swapper a lot.
Yeah, and you can and as you're listening to these audio logs, you can kind of there's a progression there. And you can kind of tell, like, she's getting more and more used to, like, running through that cycle again.
Yeah.
And like, as she talks, and, like, as it goes on, she starts talking about her death and waking up in, like, a more clinical way and, like, a more, like, mechanical way, because she's, like, because at first...
Desensitized.
Yeah, because she's desensitized to it. Like, at first, she was like, what is going on? I died, I thought, and then I came back, and now she's like, okay, so now I know what I need to do. This time, I'm like, man... But it's
interesting. I want to know who wrote it, because like this is the first game Housemarque has had with her writer.
Yeah, I did look it up, but I don't remember who it was. But it's a really interesting game, and I've been really liking it. Also, I have been playing. my wife Kaylee has been after I showed her Borderlands 3. I introduced her to Borderlands through Borderlands 3. And now after playing Borderlands 3, like she's really into Borderlands. Yeah. So
she loves Pandora.
Yeah, I Heart Pandora t-shirts are on the way. Okay.
Sure.
But so she's kind of been trying to get more stuff, like more into like the world and the lore and stuff.
How often does she play Cage the Elephant?
So
that fucking terrible song.
So like it's funny because like the first time so she booted that game up, right? And like
and you started bobbing your head.
Well, she put on the song. She was like, who is this? But yeah.
Did you tell her no?
Did you tell her nobody?
To find out.
Yeah, it's a group of nobodies. Don't worry about it. But
it's made only for this game. You can't find it anywhere else.
But I was watching her play a little bit, and I was like, I'll play some Borderlands with you. And it was interesting to go back to that, to like play that game again after. I think the last time I played that game was maybe 2009. So playing it again for the first time was like in like over a decade was really something, especially like after playing Borderlands 3 and seeing, the difference in like, like interfaces and stuff like that. But it's been a nice time like watching her like get more of the story and find out more about these characters and everything.
You're not going to get much from the first one, but okay.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny about that is like I've played through Borderlands 1, 2, a good portion of the pre-sequel. I could not tell you what's happening in those games.
That's what I was telling her. I was like, because I told her from the onset that I was like, I don't know how much story you're going to get from Borderlands 1, honestly.
Yeah.
But like,
like you're just going to get that there's treasure hunters.
Yeah.
And there's a vault
because like
untold,
because she wanted
and riches.
She wanted to get more background about these characters, and I was like, they don't really actually have a personality until the next game, because they become NPCs, and so then they have dialogue written for them that really kind of illustrates like who they are, but I was like, I couldn't tell you what the story of the first game is, and she's like, I know what the story is, and then she starts telling me, and I was like, okay, well, you got more out of it than I did, but yeah, it's
she's on those Borderlands fan sites.
Yeah, she's there's a fanfic incoming. She's
writing zero fan fiction.
Yeah, Randy's in there.
Yeah, doing his magic tricks, but yeah, and then I did actually. I'm really excited because I actually finally got around to buying buying Yakuza 3, just because it was on sale for like $10, and I know I can get the whole thing for like $30, but I saw it for $10. I want to play it, so it's been a while since I finished Yakuza 2, so I'm looking forward to actually getting into that.
I was like, have you played all the Yakuza games?
So I've played 0 through 2 at this point. So
all right, and there's 5 of them, right?
There is
7.
Technically 7.
Yeah. Technically 8.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, technically 9 actually.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't.
Yeah. But there are 7 numbered games.
Yeah. So. Well, wait.
All right.
There are 6 numbered games.
Because 0, 1,
6
2,
and
4, 5,
0.
6.
Yeah, 6 and 0. Okay, you're right.
And then the new one,
Like a Dragon,
and Judgment is part of that universe as well.
So
Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
But
Cisco.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just want to know more about, because I really like that character. He's like definitely one of my favorite video game characters.
You just want to know how to start your own Yakuza. I know.
No, I know how to do that. So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing it, and eventually I'll work my way through that entire series. But that's it. Yeah.
I've only been doing a lot of video game playing. Been adjusting to my new work schedule, and then I also got one of the houses I put in a bid for. Like, the offer got accepted, and during the inspection, the house was hot garbage. So I had to
Well, I bet
undo
you're
that
glad you paid
offer.
for that inspection at least.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we thought the inspection was going to be like 900 because we also got the termite stuff done, but apparently the foundation was different than what we thought it was, so it was only like 400.
Yeah, that's good.
So dope on that. And then besides the $100 escrow, like I mean, I'm getting the other money I put down back. But no, I'm really glad about that. But yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Um, like obviously so it rained, for those who don't know, it rained recently a lot in San Antonio. And so apparently the
The
drainage pipes
twisters
actually go,
came through.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was an
apparently the
F5.
drainage pipes for that house actually go uphill. So it was like pooled all around like one side of the house that had gotten an extension recently. So it had leaked underneath and they had put wood laminate all in the flooring and it pulled up all of the wood laminate. Like it was like bubbled up on like the entire like hallway. Not to, and there's also like whoever like redid the roof, when they were like doing it, they like ran out of nails and didn't notice for an entire portion of the roof.
Well, they noticed. They didn't think you would notice.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, Shanae, you should play that house flipper game to get you ready for home ownership.
so I was like, so I see all these cute houses that are staged, obviously, like when I go and look at them. So I have been, so I actually downloaded some mobile games for like house decoration to try and get like my brain used to like looking at it. So like if I see one
Get
that's not
that.
like already perfectly like painted and organized, I can like get a better idea. And it's actually been really nice. I mean, I really enjoyed that aspect of Sims. And that's what I did the most in Sims is like build the houses.
Yeah.
But
Hey, Animal Crossing, happy home designer.
Yeah.
That's all that game is.
Tom made a sim that accidentally burned himself alive with his barbecue grill.
He didn't die. The house burned down,
Sure.
but he didn't die.
Sure, that's true.
I really
Well, I
wish we
mean-
were recording that. That was so fucking funny.
Because like I think one of the personality traits you gave him was that he was a coward, and so he
So
just
here's the thing: when everybody makes their Sims and like, oh, this guy's gonna be artsy and real business minded and physically fit. I'm like, no, fuck that. That's not fun. So I make all my Sims with lots of problems.
sure, yeah, like being a
you know,
coward.
true life.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then yesterday I got my last dose of the Moderna vaccine, so I am a little bit like out of it today. But yeah, worth it. Worth it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely worth it.
sure. I mean, look, your hashtag stopping the spread. You're gonna flatten the curve. So
But I will say, like, so I had to work yesterday, and I made it through like 5 hours of my 8 hour shift, and then I had to leave. If anybody's getting it and does not already plan to take that day off and like the next day off, do it because it's not a fun ride. I mean, it's not as bad as like getting actual COVID, obviously.
You know what's
But,
funny
like,
though is like the nurse when I got mine, I got Pfizer, and the nurse told me the same thing. Like second shot, you might feel bad, right? But like my whole family got Pfizer, and none of us felt sick.
yeah, you got them good
on the
genes,
second
man.
shot?
Yeah.
You got them good genes.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting like uncommon symptoms.
Well, you're,
But supposedly, I don't know about Pfizer, but at least I know it's like Moderna because I was reading about that. Is that like if you've had COVID before, you'll have more of a reaction to the first shot, and if you haven't had COVID before, then you'll have a more reaction to the second shot.
I tried to convince my brother-in-law that the efficacy of the Pfizer virus was higher if you got it in your penis.
did he buy it?
No,
The
he
Pfizer
didn't.
virus or the Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah, the Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah, because that's where they put it. It's only FDA approved
Yeah.
if it goes in your urethra.
Yeah.
So
So I haven't touched Persona 5 Royal, but I need to because I really want to finish it. But I'm already like trying to figure out what I'm gonna get next.
Oh man,
Like-
4 Golden's on sale on Steam right now. I've been thinking about picking that one
I'm
up.
not gonna get another Persona game like right off the bat, but I've been thinking about getting Pokemon Snap.
snurp.
Snap. But also it's really funny that you mentioned Sims
Hear
because
that snap?
I've also been side-eyeing the Sims games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Steam, you can get 3 or 4, right? Uh, 3 is the superior game. 3 is like the best Sims game, but like it's kind of a bitch to get running well on modern systems. Yeah.
Well, Shanae, you should just get number 4, and you should make me in the game, and that
Make you a coward.
The best thing about 4 though is multitasking.
Sure.
So that's fucking awesome.
What is multitasking in the context
Like,
of the Sims?
So like you can exercise while also watching TV,
Oh,
or
neat.
you can take a piss while also being on your phone, like things
Cool.
like that.
I do those
Oh.
things.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
That is the
Yeah.
that is the only
I am
improvement
human.
to the Sims.
I am human.
You know, like Sims 4, that's the only thing they improved. Everything
Sure.
else is worse about it, but you know.
Well, I'll see which one is better for. Because the main reason I want to get The Sims is because I've been playing these mobile games, and of course they're like the free ones are all shit, and I don't really want to spend a lot of money on the other ones.
Play the
So
free
I
mobile
think-
Sims game.
Oh yeah, play that one.
That's a
So,
good compromise.
That one doesn't. That one doesn't. So I really want to get The Sims so I can decorate houses and build houses and stuff.
Fuck yeah,
And
dude.
that's all I want. That's all I want.
Hey,
It's just
if that's what you want out of the Sims, then 4 is fine. You know?
yeah, I just want to decorate.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
um,
You can make that house as big as
do-
you want, man.
do they still have the rosebud cheat where I can just get all the money so I can do whatever the fuck I want?
I know Motherload is still there.
Yeah.
I don't know about Rosebud specifically, but Motherload is still there.
Yeah.
I think rosebud might have been StarCraft. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
No, I think it was Sims. I don't know.
I don't cheat at my
My
video
brain-
games, so I don't know.
Well, I suck at them, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryan.
Yeah. So I'm.
Thought this was America.
Yeah, I am a purist. I like my video games undiluted, and I want the experiences to be organic.
Sure. You want the shot in your penis.
Yeah, I want the shot in my penis.
For the most efficacy,
Yeah.
obviously.
Because I don't want to get the virus, man. So I got to put it right up in there.
But I will. I'm gonna grab something real fast.
Okay.
While I do that, if you wanna start talking about the topic, Tommy.
Okay,
We're talking
Tommy.
about first-person shooters.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of first-person shooters over the past few months. Recently, so for those that don't know, I don't think I ever mentioned it on the show. For about a year, I was without a PC.
Yeah.
Which is why you didn't see me posting much shit, why you didn't see me streaming or anything like that. And now I have a PC.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, I
And
got
it's-
a new one.
And it's badass.
And,
tell him it's badass, Tom.
Yeah, it's badass, and I prefer first-person shooter on keyboard and mouse. So I've been playing a lot of FPS lately. Like to the point where I'm like thinking about either doing a separate show for this channel specifically geared toward it, or starting a whole new channel geared towards it.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been playing all these games, both old and new,
Yeah.
and I really think that like right now is the best time for FPS, more so than the 90s. Like now, you know. And I just kind of wanted to talk about like some of the games I've been playing, what you guys have been playing. I know Sinead's been playing some Halo here and there. Ryan, I know you've been playing some Borderlands. You know, your Apex and all that.
Yeah. So real quick, I am curious, why is now the best time for first person shooters?
Okay, so you know, we came up in the 90s, right? Like we came up with first person shooters. We saw them grow, right?
Right.
You and I are old enough to have played games like Catacombs and like Wolfenstein and stuff like that. So we got to watch them evolve, and as they evolved, some really great things happened, right? We had Quake, which is like one of the earliest examples of a 3D game.
Yeah, and that game's badass.
We had, but like, you know, around the same time, we get things like GoldenEye, which makes the missions a bit more linear and more mission based as opposed to just get to the exit, right? We see things like Half-Life, which add story within first person, but again, very linear. Then you get to things like Halo a bit later, you get to things like Modern Warfare a bit later, and we get farther and farther away from what FPS used to be,
Right.
which is not a bad thing, but I like, as much as I love several of those games I just named, I also kind of blame them for us getting into just the year after year of the same games being released.
Right.
if that makes sense.
Sure.
And that's not to say that Call of Duty or Battlefield are bad games. I've had a lot of fun with Call of Duty in the past, but those games took precedent over
Yeah.
the others, right? We saw Raven die and be consumed by Activision, right? Like they just
RIP.
make Call of Duty maps now,
Yeah.
you know. So it's interesting now. I really think the two games that kind of started this whole thing was Wolfenstein: The New Order and 2016 Doom.
Right.
In that, like, we're starting to see more games like that come out from smaller developers and smaller publishers, right? 3D Realms, while they were a big name before, they're not really exactly a big name now, right?
Yeah.
But between Night Dive and New Blood and 3D Realms, we're seeing a lot of these shooters published. So now it's like you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You can play your looter shooters or your Call of Duties, but you also got all of these awesome old school inspired shooters. And with Night Dive specifically, you've got a way to play a lot of these old shooters on modern hardware.
Like Turok and shit like that.
Yeah, like Turok, where like I've been playing Blood recently, and like if you weren't playing it off of Fresh Supply, then you'd be playing it through DOSBox, which really limits what you can do with that game, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I just think it's interesting, and I think like
What do you think?
the genre is so varied now, right? There are so many games in first-person shooting now that are so very different. You know, I've been playing Maximum Action, which is like, it's like you're filming a scene in a movie, right? You pop in a VHS tape to play like these different scenarios,
Cool.
and you've got like bullet time, and you're like diving through the air, and it's very much inspired by like old kung fu action movies. But there's references to like the Matrix in there and shit like that, right? And it's just short spurts, these little movie scenes, and then you can watch it all when you're done playing it, and you've got like this really shitty low polygon character flying around through the air. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I played Bullets Per Minute, which is like Crypt of the Necrodancer in Doom. You know, it's like a rhythm-based first-person shooter.
Wait, what was it called again? Bullets Per Minute?
I'm sorry?
Bullets Per Minute?
Yeah, Bullets Per Minute.
Because I feel like I saw one recently. I don't know if this is the same game because I don't remember the name, but it was like it was a rhythm-based first-person shooter, but like it had demons and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Is that the same game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What does it mean by like bullets per minute %? Like,
well, like BPM is like beats per minute, you know, but it's just a clever name. But you've got this thing closing in on your crosshair that's like identical to Crypt of the Necrodancer.
I didn't play that, so
you want to shoot on beat, and you want to reload on beat, and jump on beat, and it's cool, you know.
No, it is cool. Like as far as like first-person shooters, I really just had the experience of like most of it is just Halo or Battlefield.
Sure.
There are a couple other ones like thrown in there, and of course like Borderlands. I've played some of that, but like I don't really know what you mean by like the difference between like. I mean, I've played Quake, but I don't know what you mean by like the difference between Quake and like Battlefield. Like, what's the real big difference as far as like gameplay that you think is like that Battlefield's like missing from Quake?
It's non-linear level design, whereas modern shooters have very linear level design. It's mechanics, right? Being able to bunny hop, being able to strafe jump, being able to backflip, things like that.
You know, like a lot of those older shooters didn't have things like
iron sights, reloading,
things like that. So
it's also like a combination of things, right? Like hit scan enemies versus actual projectile enemies. You know, it's there's a lot of differences.
What do you mean by that? Hit scan versus.
So for those that don't know, projectiles in video games, not just first-person shooters, but 3D video games in general, and actually that's wrong, 2D games as well. Projectiles in games work in two ways. Hit scan, where if they see you, right, if the crosshair is on the target and the shot is fired, it's going to hit. Right? It's instant, it's going to hit. Whereas a projectile-based, the projectile actually goes through the air.
Like think the fireballs in Doom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, fireballs in Doom, right? The imps in Doom are a projectile enemy,
Yeah.
whereas the little zombie pistol shooter guys
Yeah.
are a hit scan enemy.
Right.
You know, uh, so yeah, like there's just very different things. You know, very different things, and even in those old shooters, different genres that don't really seem to exist. You know, we talk about games like Doom or Quake, which are basically just key hunts. But games like the original Unreal
Yeah.
or Hexen uh, or Turok even, where it is more like you've got this big fucking area and you have to explore every fucking nook and cranny to progress, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was even stuff like in Turok and Hexen where like exploration was integral to progress, but like also it got you secrets that weren't necessarily required to proceed,
Right.
but like they gave you power ups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like and even like within even like back then within those shooters, right? Like I think that different shooters did have like mechanics that I wasn't necessarily used to. Like for Hexen for example, was like the idea of like it was like an objectively linear progression where as far as like equipment and weapons were concerned, because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of with like Doom, for me personally, what weapon I was using was really just preference for the most part, whereas like with like the in Hexen, like you start as like let's say you pick the warrior, and like first he's got his like all he has is his fists, and then later you've got the objectively better sword and stuff like that, and then it just kind of goes like in a very linear fashion like that. But the way that like the game just opens up, because eventually like Hexen like has these like for the time like these huge
Big.
like open areas, and like because I think I was like 10 or 11 when I first played Hexen, and I was just like I didn't know first person I didn't know maps could be this big, but
And
I didn't
Hexen
even
was a
know.
bitch.
I didn't
you
even
know?
know.
yeah.
Like Heretic was just basically Doom again.
Yeah.
But like Hexen was fucking hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the genre is in the best place it's ever been, because even if you just want to play Call of Duty, like that still exists. You're still getting that every year.
Yeah.
You know. Uh,
But I think
and
there was probably a time when like it was easy to think that like what these kind of shooters that we're talking about just weren't coming back.
Exactly. Well, that and like new shooters, new types of shooters coming around, right? Like
Yeah.
like we talked about with bullets per minute. Even like I've been playing Nightmare Reaper. Have you guys played Nightmare Reaper?
Never heard of it.
I haven't even heard of
It's
it.
fucking crazy. So like it's a roguelike, but like you're this lady in a asylum. You don't really know why you're there. But you know, like you've got the whole fucking gown and everything.
Yeah.
But when you go to sleep, you have these fucking nightmares. That's a first-person shooter, and it's fucking insane. It's so cool. You know, like I can't think of an old roguelike FPS. I'm sure some probably exist,
Yeah.
right? But like, not that I know of. Post Void, which like Post Void, for one, is fucking insane. For two, it's like super cheap. So I bought like 10 copies of it and sent it out to friends. Like it's again a roguelike first person shooter, but it's like 90s MTV and like Ralph Steadman got into a fight and here's your game, and like hallways like go up and down, and like still textures are constantly moving. So even when you're not moving,
Yeah.
shit's moving, and like you're it's the same like surf rock song the entire time. And like much like with Devil Daggers, like you feel gross.
Yeah, Devil
Like,
Daggers made me feel bad when I played it.
Yeah, and Post Void, you will feel physically sick playing it,
Yeah.
Why?
but you will get past that. You will transcend, and then it's
why
fucking
do you feel
awesome.
sick playing it?
Just visually, the fact that things that should not be moving are moving.
Yeah.
How fast the game is, like the colors of the game, the art style of the game, like you will feel gross playing it.
Yeah.
But
I remember the first time because I had heard of Devil Daggers before Tom showed it to me, but like I remember actually like sitting down at his computer and playing it, and like immediately I was like, I don't know that I don't know that I like how this looks. And then like watching it move and like the sounds of the game, I was just like, ugh. That is not a pleasant experience. I will never play Devil Daggers again. But
like other things, right? Like I've been playing Terminator Resistance. So like Terminator Resistance came out with like zero advertising, and reviewers tore it apart.
Yeah.
Like this game got terrible reviews from games outlets, right? User reviews.
360 or PS3, right?
No, this is PS4, and a recent port, like an upcoming port for PS5. But like user reviews were fantastic, and so I buy the game and I'm playing it. And I'm like, yeah, it's just your average FPS game.
Yeah.
But if you love Terminator,
which I do,
fucking awesome. You know,
yeah,
it's fucking awesome. Find a dog and you can name it Wolfie or Max, like little
nice.
things like that, right? Like
I love it.
Like what's his name? Robert Patrick?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
The T-1000?
T-1000?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a model. I don't want to spoil it, but like he's basically there, and like it's so good.
I need this game.
You know, going like walking around the city at night with like the spotlights from the hunter killers.
Yeah.
Like, looks
so the whole game is in
so good.
The whole game takes place in the future.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's so cool, man. Like there's just so much. There's so much good stuff.
Yeah. So like it's funny because I think that like as shooters have been going on, it's like, because I think that at a certain point when it comes to like tech progression in the I think we lost Shanae for a second, but when it comes to like progression as far as the tech gets better and everything, like we've kind of seen like, well, the natural progression of these things is that the games will just keep looking better, and then you'll be able to theoretically do more things in the game, right? But but also watching these games kind of move laterally in a way. When I think of like Super Hot, and like I think about like, well,
that's another great example, man.
Yeah, there's like, you think about like, well, even in the age of like, you know, Call of Duty and Battlefield and like all these like super like technically advanced games, it kind of like we boil it down to like the very basic premise of a first person shooter, but also put the spin on it. Well, it's a first person shooter, but it's also a puzzle game, and like the way that you like, and like the way that you engage with this game is unlike any other first person shooter I've ever played. Because it's taking like, yes, your ability to aim does count for something, right? But your ability to also like stop for a second and think and figure out your next move, which is not something you're typically doing in first person shooters.
Yeah. And even Dusk, right? Like Dusk plays it very safe when it comes to like old school game design.
Yeah.
But like, you know how Doom and Quake have like the crazy power-ups? Like there's basically a super hot power-up in Dusk. Yeah. You know? So like just for that duration.
Super hot.
It's that, you know.
Super
hot. Have you guys seen like Ultra Kill?
Ultra Kill. Shit, that sounds familiar. Let me look it up real quick.
It's another FPS. They internally, the studio calls it Devil May Quake, because it's a first person shooter with a fucking Devil May Cry scoring system, you know?
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, this game looks cool.
I like that though. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
As far as the description.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I love like one of the things that I love in shooters of all kinds, be it like, this is something that I was really excited about. And in Doom 2016 is when like I finished the game and they're like, hey, here's a score attack mode for you. I was like, oh hell yes.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
But like even the old stuff, right? Like even the ancient stuff, like Night Dive Studios is doing God's work here, you know? Like so they make this engine, it's called the Kex engine, and they're just putting out all these games. They put out both the first two Turret games, right? Yeah. They put out Blood, which had problems at launch, but is fucking awesome now. And like, Blood wasn't a 2D engine. That was the fucking the Duke Nukem engine. Yeah. What was it called?
I don't know.
Yeah, but the build engine, right? but like now, technically, that game's 3D. Still looks like the build engine.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
but
because like the funny thing, like what I love about this stuff, right, is that I remember reading about. I remember seeing Blood in GamePro magazine when I was
Yeah.
like, and I was like, I think in the fifth or sixth grade.
yeah,
And I was like, well, I don't have a computer that'll let me play games, so I just have to like read about these games that I'll never get to play.
Right.
And like the preservation involved with like studios who do stuff like this is like so important. And like now,
Yeah.
now that I'm an adult, like that has his own computer, I could go play all these fucking games that I never got to play as a kid, and that's awesome.
yeah, but like Sin has a recent version, right?
Yeah.
Strife has a recent version.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, both System Shock games. Like these are games that, like, yeah, you could get them running 5 years ago, but you had to jump through a lot of hoops, and when you got them running, they weren't running. They weren't looking
Yeah.
their best, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's so cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been I've been playing a lot more first person shooters as of late than I had been in more recent years. And I think it's just like it's a combination of different things because like I don't know, something flipped onto my brain one day where I was like, I like competitive gaming all of a sudden, and so like
Oh yeah.
and so like
It's because we got into the fighting games,
so
and now you're like,
it's funny though, right? Because like there was a time where like even when I had bought like the older Call of Duty or Battlefield games, like before I would always do the campaign first, so I learned how to play the game, and then like I would sit there at the multiplayer screen like for like maybe a half hour before I was like, okay, let's go into the lobby now. But like now it's just like like you mentioned before, like I've played a good amount of Apex this year, and I think back to the first time I played PUBG, which was with you at your house, Tom, and like that, like I just
The only reason I played it was because Berto bought it for me.
well, I remember like at the time I was like, this is Anxiety the video game, and I hate it. This is
you stressed about it so much. I had a great time with PUBG, but also I'm not competitive.
Yeah.
And I feel like PUBG is a lot easier. Well, battle royale games in general are a lot easier for me, not like because like I've played Halo online a couple times recently, and I like half the time I put into a lobby with people who've been playing Halo for years and have never put it down.
Yeah.
So I just like I literally
Yeah.
spawn and die over and over and over again where I can't even move.
Right.
And it's just like people that know the spots in the maps where they can see where the team normally spawns, and they like coordinate to those. And it's just like, all right, this isn't fun. Like I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
See, but that's the
wanna
thing,
do
though, right?
this.
Like that to me is like another win in a lot of these old school games versus some of the newer stuff. Is like I loved Modern Warfare 3. I played the fuck out of that multiplayer, right? Not a lot of people playing Modern Warfare 3 anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, like I can still pretty easily find matches in Quake 3.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that game's how old? You know?
Yeah.
You know, do we think people are gonna be playing fucking Warzone in 20 years? Probably not.
No.
You
But
know,
20 years later, they're still playing Quake 3. So
I mean,
yeah.
I have no issues finding people, and it's not even like the same people either. in
Well,
Halo.
sure, but like, I mean, those games. One, those games aren't exactly new. You know, two, like the repackaging of the Master Chief Collection makes
Definitely
it easier to go
helps.
back to those games, right?
100%.
um
But like, I don't know. That's one thing I find like really frustrating with like first person shooters for me, and like getting into them in any sort of like multiplayer or online capacity, is just that like people have been playing it, or they've been playing other first person shooters for a hot ass minute,
yeah.
and either like I'm like, all right, either they're kind to me and they're like, yeah, she's not gonna hit anything. Like we've noticed that she hasn't killed a single person. Like just let her run around, or like they just instant death all the time, and that's just not fun.
Yeah, but like I also think like that's a way that FPS has evolved to be better than it used to be. While I love games like Quake Arena or Unreal Tournament, like those games were kill, right? Like regardless of what mode you were playing, that's basically the objective. Whereas with TF2 and then now games like Overwatch, players like my daughter, who doesn't have exactly the best aim, was still able to get really into Overwatch and excel at it in
Definitely
different
something I
classes.
appreciate
Yeah.
about Overwatch, and because I've definitely had more fun with Team Fortress.
Yeah.
Like
same.
So
then I have like other ones as well too.
Yeah, and I think that like it's a really big thing, especially with like that's kind of something that like I thought about with Overwatch too, is that like most of the a lot of the important ways to contribute to your team success in that don't necessarily directly involve like killing other players or being good at like shooting, and that's really cool. And especially like when the game, at least when I last played, the game focused on the stuff that you accomplish, as opposed to like showing everybody how many times you died. Like it shows everybody how many kills you got or how much time you spent on the objective and things like that. But I think also one of the major things about playing first-person shooters, especially in a multiplayer environment, is just, for me, it's always like getting over the it was always getting over that initial anxiety of that first exchange. Whereas, but in like games like PUBG, like that period, that waiting period is like can be potentially very drawn out unless you like.
Sure.
Whereas with games like,
what's funny because like I could have swore there was a time where you were pretty heavy into competitive Battlefield.
So yeah, I mean like in the early 2010s, like I was kind of like really like into that, and and I don't know what it was specifically about that game, but I played it a lot.
For me, it was the vehicles. I liked playing Battlefield 1912. I love playing Battlefield on PC. I mean, and I definitely played more. I mean, it's probably as far as like first person shooters goes, probably one I've played online the most.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Battlefield series, and I don't know. For me, it was the vehicles. I don't know. I like in the maps. I felt like they were a lot more interesting than the Call of Duty ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Call of Duty, it's a different thing, right? Like the games get compared, but they're so different.
Yeah. It is. Well, it's what's weird. What's interesting though is like over time how much Battlefield kind of tried to. Well, it looked like they were kind of, with a lot of the sensibilities of Battlefield, they were kind of getting closer to what Call of Duty was at a certain time.
Yeah.
But also kind of maintaining those key differences. Like from what I've seen of Call of Duty, like a lot of the modes in some way are centered around well, not a lot. I don't know. The two modes that I've seen are the team deathmatch and the kill confirmed, which is the two that I always see people playing.
Yeah.
Whereas Battlefield seems to focus more on like objective based stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, even just like the feel of the games are quite different. The way that levels are designed is quite different.
Yeah.
Like I felt like with Battlefield, it was definitely like a terrain that I am fighting on. Meanwhile, like with Call of Duty, I've always felt like it's a box that I'm in.
Exactly. Yeah, Call of Duty is much smaller. You're much closer together.
Yeah.
Which it's not Counter-Strike, but it's.
But also, maybe this is just the Call of Duty that I've played, but I feel like almost every Call of Duty map for like after when they came on 360, so Modern Warfare 2 to like Black Ops 2 that I played, like dabbled in here and there. Like I just felt like they were always like a square, like just a square. There was no other like option.
You're not far off. I mean, it is oftentimes that,
Yeah.
Like I don't
not literally, but yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just like,
and I like that, right? Because like I grew up with stuff like Quake Arena, right, or Unreal Tournament, and like none of those maps were huge. They were all pretty close. But
but I never played them long enough to like memorize like where the
Right.
high points were, where you can see what from where, and like other people had. So anytime I played them online, I was like, all right, well, I guess because I don't spend all my time, I'm just not going to enjoy this. Cool, cool.
You
Um,
sound
And it's
like
just like,
now
yeah,
you
it's
sound like a real fighting game player.
yeah. Now you're getting it. There's that salt we've been looking for.
Yeah.
it's just like
I guess since I
and
don't live in the game, since I have a life.
well,
Like,
it's really discouraging for new players in my
No, it
opinion.
is. It is. Yeah.
And it's like, and it's one of those things like I feel like it's just one of those gatekeeping things
Yeah.
where like, and that made me not enjoy those games and those series. Besides the fact that I had to like, working at GameStop, I had to do midnight launches and see all their stupid fucking faces. But like,
And I
but
do
like
think
I don't
that's
know.
the case with most competitive games, right? Like, shooter or not, most fighting games are pretty toxic. Not all of them, but fuck, especially rhythm games. I've been playing a lot of rhythm games lately. Rhythm game community is fucking disgusting. Like they really are.
But like,
But
I think they're disgusting for a different reason rather than fighting game and shooting
sure.
games. As somebody who's gone to a lot of conventions and
yeah.
seen the people who play the rhythm games, ugh, ugh.
But like I think that's just
But
part
like,
of it. Like I can
but
name good
I've
online communities and games and competitive games on one hand.
Yeah.
but I've
Like
gone to because Berto used to do MVC 3 competitively. So I've gone like granted it's all around like San Antonio, so like there are people like that live in your city and not just like online random faces. But I will say that I think as far as like competitive playing games, Street Fighter has been one of the nicest communities to me. Like where I'm like,
yeah,
hey,
Yeah.
I don't know these games and
but
I'm
that's
really
in
here to...
person.
Sure.
Like everyone's nicer in person than
Yeah.
online.
Let me tell you
That's
something.
not everyone.
Let me tell you something. I have gotten I've gotten more than my fair share of angry voice messages on Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and it's very much like, guess I don't live in the game. I was like, well, maybe if you did, you would have beat me.
Was it Shanae?
No, actually, you know what? The one time Shanae and I ever played a fighting game, she beat me.
Yeah.
So
And then you said that to her.
yeah, because like the first time she played the game, she beat me, and I was like, guess I don't. If I lived in the game.
No, I think you usually talk shit about me button mashing, but I was like, I just used a Tekken and I was trying to figure out how to do things.
I mean, but it worked though. So
I mean, it did. I mean, I think we played again and I didn't win, but I don't know. I mean, I have met quite a few people who play like first-person shooters competitively and gone to like little matches and stuff like that around town too. But I'm just gonna say, in person, out of the competitive communities and competitive tournaments I've gone to, I will say Street Fighter has been the nicest,
Yeah.
anecdotally.
yeah.
And I don't deny that, but I just think in general, like it's not a first person shooter problem. It's an online games problem,
It's an internet as a whole problem.
Yeah.
But so I was actually thinking about like, especially like after all the time I spent playing Borderlands 3.
Yeah, talk to me about Borderlands 3. Because I asked you the other day, what's your favorite FPS? And you couldn't pick one. The guy said not Doom, right?
Yeah.
I said, what's your favorite FPS besides Doom?
Yeah.
And
Besides Doom.
you couldn't pick one, so you picked like
Why'd you
3.
say
Yeah.
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 And Borderlands 3 was one of those. Sell
Yeah.
me on Borderlands 3 because like
I
I
don't-
played a lot of Borderlands, you know.
Well, so I don't know that I can sell you on the game. I think that it is more Borderlands, but like it is literally more of that. Like,
Yeah.
in terms of like consistency and increased volume of such. But like I don't know. I think Borderlands for me, what I've been appreciating more and more about it, and like I think I've been pretty critical of like the dated references that exist
Sure.
within those games, which I mean don't write any jokes around memes when you're developing a video game, because I promise you they will not age well with the speed of the
I
internet.
mean, yeah,
But
you
if you don't give a
could
shit about
do
how
it
it
if the
ages.
game's gonna come out
Yeah.
on time.
Yeah.
But
But like
when you're announced Borderlands 3 6 times, that's not a good sign.
yeah, and so I think that like thematically though, overall, Borderlands 3, like Borderlands as like a franchise, like has a lot of shit that I like. Like
Yeah.
it's got anti-capitalist, anti-corporate rhetoric, check. Queer representation, check. Positive POC representation, check. Strong female characters, check. So it's that all this stuff.
I also like the way that they do their gun system. Like
Yeah,
it's very much based off like World of Warcraft, like as far as like the coloring and everything. But as far as they do their tiers of weapons and how you get them, I enjoyed.
yeah.
I think Borderlands as like I did not play three, but I played one and two, and I feel like it's a game series where you're like it is not nearly as okay like fun to play if you're doing it by yourself. Like
I don't know because like I think there's definitely something to be said about playing those games with other people. Like I played through Borderlands 3 like the campaign by myself, and then I played through it again with my wife, and both times like it was a lot of fun. But I think that like where the guns are concerned, it's interesting to watch like how the advancement in the tech has changed over the decade since the first game came out, and the way that those, because like I played Borderlands 1 and I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell one manufacturer from another because they all the guns like share a similar aesthetic for the most part. Whereas in Borderlands 2 they had distinguished, like they have like distinctive looks at this point, right?
Oh.
Well, like Borderlands 3, I don't know, I really liked I kind of just really liked what they did with the weapons, because I remember in pre-sequel my one good takeaway from pre-sequel is that game has laser weapons in it, which I could not for the life of me figure out why they were absent before, but yeah, like those like having weapons with like different barrels so that the weapons behave differently it's really fun, and it keeps finding those weapons fun.
I like
See, like
the
what's funny is I always call Borderlands first-person shooter Diablo, which it's not, but it basically is, right?
Sure.
Like, and we've talked about it in the past, like well before Borderlands 3 was talked about. You and I talked about it, and I said I'll play it if they do an armor system,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
which of course they didn't.
Sure.
But like to me, the biggest difference is that when I play Borderlands, and I haven't played 3, right, but 1, 2 pre-sequel, is that I feel like 90% of the guns I pick up are garbage.
Yeah, so like I think that with Borderlands 3,
like it's a lot. There's a lot of guns.
The thing with Borderlands 3 is that like the weapons feel different in a way.
Yeah.
Like, each weapon feels different. So like even different weapons within the same manufacturer, they lend themselves to different play styles just depending on what you find. And that's, like 2 assault rifles from the same manufacturer might behave differently, and it might just, at that point, it's a matter of preference for you, right? Like
and depending on the game, it might also be like your character. Because I know in the first one, Siren's power is extended to the bullets.
Yeah, so, and I think that the Siren, like the thing with Sirens and elemental weapons has been consistent throughout the series. But one of my favorite things about Borderlands 3 is now, because like in all the games, like each character has all their skill trees and you can spec them in a way that goes to your playstyle. But the thing about it though is in all three skill trees in the previous games, the action skill was essentially the same. Like with Borderlands 2 Siren, like she had 3 different skill trees, but her action skill was always the phase lock. And it might have different properties, but it's still always that move, right?
Right.
Whereas each skill tree has its own action skill. So like, and they're all different from each other.
See, and that's so confusing, that right? Because like with the marketing of Borderlands 3, the action skill that they chose to show me was basically the phase lock. just now it had a hand. You know?
So like the phase lock is there, but then the siren also has a move where she'll like jump into the air and slam her fist into the ground and like do all this damage around her.
Ooh,
which
the
is cool.
superhero style.
Yeah, or like she has this other move where like she'll like because I don't know if you saw the siren from Borderlands 3, but she has like all those hands and like she can fire them off like as a projectile.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. And so and each character has like different ways to like play them. So like each character can be played differently. So and it's really neat it was really neat to kind of like respec and experiment with different play styles.
Yeah.
But they've also, the interesting thing about it though is they've also kind of taken the sort of I don't know if I guess it's a live game now. So it's got like events and it's got like seasonal events and shit in it. Like they have a Valentine's Day event.
Oh, good.
And they had a Halloween event and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've found that the things that they added to the game, like all the quality of life stuff that they've added to the game, like has really made it like very replayable for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, and they've like there's raids now, and like they have this like cooperative battle royale mode, whereas it's a battle royale in that they drop you into a map and then there's a circle that closes in behind you and you have to procure your own equipment.
I'm pretty sure one of the earlier Borderlands did something similar.
I don't know.
One of the DLCs I feel like was something similar.
I think you're thinking of like Mad Moxie's Underdome from Borderlands 1. But like in this, like you can't, like they take away your action skills and you kind of just have to like make do with whatever weapons you find. And then you kill a boss at the end. But like as you're going along, like there's weapons. Like if you find a weapon that you like, then you go up to like this machine and you extract it and it goes into your main game. So overall, I don't know. I think that when I think about shooters and like when I started where I was like, I don't care what this game's about. I just want to shoot motherfuckers in it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like I'm actually thinking about like what the game is thematically. Like that's kind of like with Shadow Warrior, right? Whereas like I was like, man, this game is real cool with the sword and the guns and shit, but I really don't care for that racist caricature of the main character is. So I'm kind of out.
Yeah, I mean that's such a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about how Duke Nukem has aged.
Yeah.
And how Lo Wang has aged, and like that doesn't make me like those old games any less. Like I've recently beat Duke Nukem 3D again,
Yeah.
And like that game's got some problems. They probably wouldn't release that today.
Yeah.
But
I also think that that's kind of also not like that makes it okay, but like I mean,
I'm not saying it gets a pass.
Yeah.
I definitely have enjoyed like the times that I've played Duke Nukem. But I think if in 2021 they made essentially a Duke Nukem type of guy and like a brand new franchise and like all this, or another Leisure Suit Larry, I definitely like raise an eyebrow and be like, I'm not gonna play that game. Yeah. Meanwhile, like
you'll be happy to know they made a new Leisure Suit Larry like last year.
No, I'm talking about like not the ones in the franchise, like brand new characters.
Sure. Yeah.
Not
no, I
get
get
what you're saying. But it's also like because I have nostalgia, I'm putting up with it.
Yeah.
Right.
If there wasn't any nostalgia,
exactly.
No sir.
Well,
exactly. And what's funny is like of the trifecta, right? Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, and Shadow Warrior. Like Shadow Warrior is the one that probably got some of the most flack back in the day.
Yeah.
Just because it is horror themed,
Yeah.
But like it's probably the least offensive of those three games today.
Yeah. And like
because we don't.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I was some woke 11-year-old because I absolutely was not. But
I loved tipping the strippers when I was a kid.
Like, I had infinite $20 bills. Of course, just let me see them. But but like I at the same time, like I especially with like new games in new games in one of these franchises, like to play them, I'm just like, ooh, like it kind of.
Man, I want them to make a new Blood so bad. That would be so good.
There's a difference between 11-year-old Ryan, who probably was a virgin, and not
Careful
really
now.
not seeing strippers that often. And, Ryan in his 30s who has seen strippers and could give strippers in real life $20 bills, but knows that comes out of your pocket. And, like, it's not that fun. I think there's just a massive difference in life experience.
Look, listen, I'm a huge advocate for sex work, and I think that sex workers are absolutely valid. However,
yeah.
I'm not even talking. That's not even what bothers me about Duke, But
no,
like,
but I'm saying like, but that $20 is coming out of your pocket now.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. But like at the same time, I just don't. One, I'm sure my wife would not enjoy me taking money out of our bank account to give to strippers, and two,
what if she was there?
She wouldn't be there. She cannot be there.
What if she wants to tip the stripper?
I don't know.
You're gonna keep her from this?
Also, like I'm in my 30s now, right? And that sort of thing, just like it seems so like just
juvenile because you're a grown adult.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like that game was made for adults at the time, right? And so
I mean, no, it wasn't. I mean, yeah, well, it was a higher rating, because of the ESRB, but like I feel like again, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't work at 3D Realms back in 1995, but I just think that I would assume based on the subject matter that this was geared toward an older audience. I just don't think that they were trying to get 10-year-olds to play this game, but maybe they were. And a 10-year-old Ryan absolutely
10,
did.
14 for sure.
That's exactly how Acclaim, they weren't trying to get kids to play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Of course not.
But I see your point. I see your point. But
I mean,
like at Leisure Suit Larry, you can defend at least because at least those games gave you trivia that only adults would know.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be able to play the game.
I don't know. Yeah, but like, man, it's funny because like I just imagine because you mentioned
you can't do that now.
Well, yeah, because like they're just like I'll just Google it on the smartphone my parents bought me, and I'm in, baby. But I don't know. It also like it's just. Well, you mentioned that a Leisure Suit Larry game came out last year, and
yeah, last year or the year before.
Like this is a brand new Leisure Suit Larry game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm trying to
Leisure Suit Lawrence, because
sure.
we're now in the 2020s.
Yeah. I'm just trying to imagine like what a 21st century Leisure Suit Larry is like, and it just.
All right, so I think I'm gonna buy that game.
I could be wrong, but I think there was actually like some commentary on how like he was no longer appropriate in the game.
So he was like,
but I could be wrong.
Like,
I could be wrong.
Like he was walking around getting Me Too'd all over the place, and
yeah.
I mean, is that a verb that we can use now?
I mean, I'd say
but,
so. But I don't.
Yeah, first-person shooters. Leisure Suit Larry is not that.
No, it's not.
Oh, it shouldn't be.
I know. I feel like if it were, it would be incredibly gross.
Awesome. Gross.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my face when I said that, but did you have any closing thoughts on first-person shooters, or at least this conversation about them?
No, not really. Just like I feel like there's something out there for everybody right now, if you look for it. So go look for it.
It's an FPS renaissance.
It really is.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played Blood, go play Blood because Fresh Supply works real good now. It didn't used to, but now it does.
Don't play Leisure Suit Larry.
I mean, we're due. I mean.
Also, if you like Borderlands, Blood's fucking ancient, and there's there's co-op.
There you go.
Campaign.
There you go. So basically, Blood is the precursor to Borderlands, is what he's saying.
Yeah, it's
I'm
the
not saying.
So you heard him say it. You heard it here first. Tom said that. Okay.
Um, yeah. Due to my, I don't really have any closing thoughts besides I'm not good at first-person shooters, but I do enjoy some.
Play Titanfall 2.
Titanfall
Or not.
2 was good.
Yeah. Play
I
it.
liked it.
I didn't think it was. I
Here's
didn't
the
play
thing.
much of
Everybody
it.
talked about Titanfall 2 like it was this amazing game. And like I loved it. I had a lot of fun with it, right?
Here it
The
comes.
little level where it's like building the houses, I thought that was super cool. You know? But like I can't even tell you what that game's about.
We don't need to worry about what it's about, baby. Play the
You know,
multiplayer.
like
Play the multiplayer and drop those fucking Titans.
Live in that game.
Yeah.
Live in that game.
Yeah.
No, but people specifically talk about Titanfall 2 because of the campaign.
Yeah, but what you should be talking about is how badass it is to be losing a
That's
firefight
multiplayer, baby.
and have that Titan drop down. You jump in that some bitch. There's nothing like it, man. They
I
got
You know,
That
hot
is-
take here,
that
hot
is
take
fun.
here. But like I like the first person shooter stuff in Titanfall.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But the mech stuff,
Uh-huh.
I like talking better.
Get the fuck out. Actually, I don't remember Hawken well enough to have an opinion on it because I played it like once, like
Yeah.
5
I
years
did-
ago.
Also, I was thinking about Titanfall 1, not Titanfall 2. So,
Ooh, I never played
Um,
Titanfall 1.
Samesies.
but
I don't know.
I like
Maybe.
I like mechs. So,
Yeah. Tex-Mex.
but for listeners of our show, due to my schedule changing for work stuff, we
Way
are
to
switching up.
go.
Carl.
I got a promotion and I'm making more money now. I'm sorry.
That's what it's
Fucking
I had
sell
it-
out.
Yeah. Corpo
I'm fucking
Chenet.
sell out. That $2 extra an hour, really worth it.
I mean, I'll give you $2 an hour when we do the show.
Sure.
That's
So now,
Fine.
well, I mean, now,
For 1 hour,
I mean,
rather than 40.
I mean, now, I guess we know your price now. Everybody's got their
Yeah.
price. Shaday's is $2 an hour. So
well,
Damn.
I'm doing 40 hours a week. So,
Yeah.
that's $80. So $80 is my price point. That's really depressing.
you're okay.
But yeah, sorry, I just had like a realization about my life.
You're about to be a
Got
homeowner,
too
dude.
real.
Yeah, you're about to be a homeowner.
No, I mean,
So-
no, I'm not a homeowner because that house is a bust.
Oh,
But
womp womp.
oh God, my brain. Anyways, so because of my new schedule, we are going to be switching up our podcast schedule. We're now going to be bi-weekly. Every other Wednesday is going to be when we're recording. We'll probably put the episode up pretty shortly after that. Please don't hate me for it.
I'll
I'm a
be recording
I'm a
some
thought.
new content for the channel, though. So we haven't really done anything besides just the podcast for a while.
But
I'll probably have at least like some Let's Plays and stuff going up soon.
yeah, do a let's
Yeah,
play. Do a
and
let's
then-
play of that game that you were talking about with the void. Was it called void? Void something.
Post Void?
Post void. Yeah.
Yeah, I've also been wanting to talk to y'all about some stuff too. I don't want to say on the show because there's plenty of things I've said I'm going to do on the show and then I end up not doing. So
Anything you can say to me, you can say to them.
Yeah. There are no secrets here except for the ones that are uttered after I push this stop button.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, like it's the FPS Renaissance. Play some games. You can find us on most podcast apps. We're on YouTube. We got a Discord. We got an Instagram. And bye, guys.
Bye.